For a couple of days, I have been watching a massive Twitter trend popping up on my Twitter feed. It's all about how weak the American government is. And after watching all the videos coming from Ukraine, and the news along with the response from the White House, you also may feel like what the hell is going on in the mind of the Biden administration. Why is he not helping the war-torn country after all of the bombings, civilian casualties, and war crimes? Shouldn't the United States help Ukrainians from the illegal dictator Putin? Well, in my opinion, the answer would be yes and no both. Hang on. Before you judge me or call me a weak or Russian propaganda machine, please hear me out and watch this video. And in the end, you may call me a person with some moral sense. I am neither a Russian nor a weak person. I am someone who thinks before making a comment on the situation. Let me explain why it will be a terrible idea to help Ukraine actively in the war. Before I explain that, let me tell you what is going on in Putin's mind. Putin is an ex-KGB member from the Soviet era. And in his upbringing, he is accustomed to the fact that there is one and only united Soviet Union. There was no dissolution of the USSR. For him, Ukraine is just a part of Russia. Just like a state or county in the United States. Also, the fact is that the Russian Empire that we see now has its roots in Ukraine. An old-fashioned Putin hates the West to his guts for the collapse of the USSR. And he swore to himself during his serving in the KGB to bring back the glory of the Soviet Union, and he will go to any length to bring all the broken USSR colonies closer. Narcissism is extreme self-involvement to the degree that it makes a person ignore the needs of those around them. Putin has been hiding the pain of the broken USSR. And he will go to any length to capture the Ukrainian land and bring it under his supervision, even if it causes mass destruction of Ukraine, force children to be fatherless, create war crimes, and cause a massive migrant crisis. As per Putin, the sole reason for the invasion is the NATO agreement in 1990. We will not go deep into the NATO agreement, that topic demands another video of its own. In a nutshell, it is all about the expansion of NATO. Putin says Russia was promised that NATO would not enlarge beyond Germany. But in the following years after German reunification, NATO expanded to multiple countries, including some of the former USSR colonies, which he felt that the West deceived them. And since Ukraine is trying to join the Western propaganda NATO, he must act to denazify the Ukrainian land by any means. And in this situation, it will be a very bad move for America to send troops to fight for Ukraine. It will provoke him more to push this invasion into a full-fledged war. And he will get even more of an excuse to use more military power on the neighboring countries. Remember the word Joker once said, as you know, madness is like gravity, all it takes is a little push. And God forbid, in this situation we don't want the United States government to be the push. Because it just takes a little spark from Washington to turn this into a bloody World War III. Because of Putin's narcissistic and idiosyncratic mental condition, any active move from the US will make this an invasion for united Russia into a bloody nuclear war. And World War III will not be going to be like the previous ones, it will definitely be a nuclear war. And nuclear war is the last thing our world needs to see after the deadly pandemic. Despite the fact that Moscow's nuclear threats are baseless, and it is the last thing Putin will engage in, knowing the severe consequences, there will always be a fear in the world of a nuclear war. Since Russia is a nuclear superpower, there will always be a chance of the first one to pull the trigger. And even though we know how old the nuclear arsenal is, or how doubtful the Pentagon is on the Russian capability, a nuclear warhead is a nuclear warhead. If it goes out of its barrel, there is no coming back. It's nothing like we have seen in Syria or Afghanistan. It is a weapon of mass destruction. Forget Nagasaki, the bombs Russia has can destroy 1/3 of the US population in a single target. Even the news of a nuclear launch will force the other nuclear countries to engage in the war. And we all know what's gonna happen next. Unlivable Earth for the next generations to come. The fear of the post-apocalyptic world will come true. But it can be prevented if we carefully position our steps in the ongoing war with Ukraine. Therefore, it will be best for the US and the world to engage in passive war with Moscow, like helping the Ukrainians with modern military equipment and weapons, as well as providing monetary help to the Ukrainians to defend its territory, as well as in diplomatic wars like putting sanctions on Russia, seizing Russian foreign assets, seizing properties of the persons who are funding the war, and throwing Russia out of WTO and other trade organizations, as well as stopping the Russian big business to do trade. As the world will decrease its reliance on Russian essential exports like wheat, oil, and gas, its economy will crumble. Not only will it starve Moscow from funding the invasion, preventing the world from another nuclear world war, but also force the Putin regime to stop the conquest of the former USSR colonies. Right now, I don't think it's a good time to flex military power to Russia. It will make matters worse. And please, for God's sake, do not fall for the tweets from the people who are asking for a war. This pandemic has made the lives of people tasteless as hell. They just want some action in their life. Those people who are inciting a war, thinking what can be worse than this, do not realize the fallout of a nuclear war. The right thing to do, in my opinion, is to sabotage the Russian economy, thus putting a halt to Putin's annexation plans, free the Russian population from Putin's propaganda media, and remove him from the throne. We are standing on barrels of gasoline in hot weather. Even the tiniest spark can blow the hell up, so we need to take our steps with caution. Even after all of this, if you still think that the United States government should engage in active war with Russia, then sir or madam, you are a maniac. Hope you like this video. Thumbs up if you like it and subscribe for more content. See you later.